to see you all again today, and thank you all so much for coming as well. So I'm going to talk about different areas within how different roles within the tech industry have challenges concerning mental health. I'm also going to talk about my own experiences of mental health as well. I'm going to give I'm going to give sort of like a content warning as well. Part of the presentation does talk about suicide as well, but I'm also talking about steps I've taken to help encourage mental health as well, and I'm also going to talk about the fantastic Ripple tool as well, which was developed by Alice Hendy, the CEO and founder of Ripple as well. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, but it's not in the presentation mode. Yes, now yes.
Isn't it? Okay.
Yep.
Let's have a look. So can you see the screen now, or?
Yes, perfect.
Good stuff. So I'm also talking about the Ripple tool as well, and ways which we as colleagues and professionals can also do mental health as well. So mental health has been very important whilst you're developing a career in the tech industry as well. And there's different areas within the tech industry have different perspectives of mental health as well. So I'm going to focus on a few of the different areas of the mental health. So firstly, I'm going to speak about software development mental health challenges which software developers, web developers may face as well. So one of the things developers will challenges which they face with mental health is completing work up to deadlines and making sure that the development they do meets deadlines and specific time pressures set on different projects, be it waterfall or agile methodology related projects, especially projects as well, which need to be changed and need to be delivered ahead of a time, or to comply with some legislation that takes place as well. So software developers, they'll have deadlines and time pressures to complete a lot of work, and as well, and many software developers who I've worked alongside and who have met have also done extra hours of work as well outside of the typical working week as well, to help try and meet those deadlines. A lot of the time, software developers can work in isolation as well, where they're focusing on developing a specific piece of software and coding as well, sometimes, which can be quite detailed as well. So there is a lot of time where they're in isolation and trying to focus on making sure that piece of software would work as well before it's deployed to the QA environment and tested by testers like myself. A lot of software developers need to concentrate on different projects as well, and they need to sort of focus in detail as well on specific areas of software, so that it can actually so the software actually works accordingly. It can be difficult though as well when developers are having to change priorities as well between different projects and having to shift focus from one project to another project whilst they're working. And because of this, a lot of software developers, web developers, mobile apps developers can develop fatigue as well and feel quite tired as well, because they're working a lot of hours to meet deadlines and making sure that the software works according to how the clients want the software, want requirements. Also, as well, the work to break ratios for software developers can be difficult. I've met software developers who've whilst during their lunch break or during other break will still spend time checking emails or looking at their apps, mobile apps, or looking at the mobile phones as well, and not actually taking a proper break from the screen from a laptop or from a VDU screen, which can take its toll on the mental health. A lot of the time as well, mental health issues can occur for software developers, web developers, when they're fixing bugs, particularly if the bugs are not that easy to replicate or fix, and especially if a tester like myself has found more than one ways of replicating that bug as well, and making sure that the software is resilient to deal with those risks. Reducing hours can be difficult, especially if you have a number of projects to work on, and if you've got deadlines that you have to meet, particularly if you have to meet legislation or meet business requirements or meet a fixed deadline as well. So emphasis needs to be on making sure that software developers, you can manage your mental health, manage your you can take breaks as well, so that you're refreshed and that you can focus. So there's also a lot of mental health and software testing concerns as well. So as a tester myself, I know myself and other testers have had mental health concerns as well whilst we've tested. So again, with software developers, there can be deadlines and time pressures in which to test software that's been developed within a specific sprint if you're working in agile, and especially if there's little time to actually test it, because the work has not been developed and deployed to a QA environment before it can be tested properly. And sometimes we're expected to perform testing like regression testing, where you're testing every part of the software and seeing whether or not it's adversely affected by a specific piece of software that's actually been developed within very short notice and have very little time to do. That's happened to myself before. However, fortunately, we managed to complete it all in time. Myself and my colleagues did, but at the same time as well, it was quite tiring as well, and it took a while to actually recover from that as well. A lot of the time, there's unrealistic or high expectations of what should be tested and what software needs to be tested, especially if we've got very, very limited time scales in which to test it all in as well. So trying to test that a lot of the software is working properly and using different types of testing, like automation testing, load-based testing, and a lot of manual and exploratory testing as well. There can be a lot of high expectations that testers can test everything very quickly, when a lot of the time it is not the case at all. We need to make sure that as testers, the software is working and that there's no critical or high severity bugs or errors that can occur as a result of software that's been developed. A lot of the time, we'll ask the developers if we've noticed specific bugs, but sometimes the developers are understandably busy as well and have to focus on pieces of work as well. This can make it difficult because it could take time for us to actually replicate the issues as testers and make sure that make sure that with the potential issues which we find, or anything which has not been covered in the software requirements to make sure that software is still working as it possibly could be as well, but also trying to find project managers, project business analysts, as well as developers who may not have the time to sort of go through what we found with us. Some of the time as well, there has been bullying in software testing teams as well, where if some testers can't test as quickly as what the business would like, some testers I know, including myself, have been bullied in previous roles because of it, and that can have a detrimental effect on your mental health, where a lot of testers could question the quality of the testing that they're doing, and if the testing is actually having any effect on the quality of the software. A lot of organizations seem to hire more developers, but not enough testers to actually test the software. So developer to tester ratios can be quite difficult to manage as well. The ideal developer to tester ratio should be 2 developers to 1 tester, or even better, if it's ever possible, 1 developer to 1 tester. However, this is not always the case, and sometimes you can have many developers to 1 tester within a project or a team, and the workload between the tester can magnify that much to accommodate a number of developers that are actually working on that project as well.
Hey, Andy, sorry to interrupt. Would it
Yeah,
be
sure.
possible to switch off your video? The bandwidth quality is a bit poor and the audio is coming across a bit scrambled. So I think that should smooth things out. Thanks.
Yeah, I've turned the video off, but I'll put it back on afterwards. Okay. Thank you. So with testers as well, if there's if an organization is struggling and needs to make redundancies or job losses, testers, in my experience, are usually sort of affected more than what the developers are, because with developers you've got different types of developers which are seen as important within a business. For example, web developers, mobile apps developers, full stack developers, back-end developers, which I do understand that they all play the part as well. However, testers, we've got testers equally have different types of roles for testing. For example, manual testers, automated testers, accessibility testers, load testers, penetration testers. However, a lot of organizations unfortunately do not seem to see testing as an important role as what software development would be. But a lot of the time, if there's an issue with the software, if bugs have been found after they've been released, a lot of the time the testers are to blame, or a lot of people blame the testers and ask them why on earth a specific piece of software wasn't tested, when sometimes the testers have only a little time to actually test specific areas of a software system. So another area in mental health, which in the tech industry, which has a lot of mental health concerns, is cybersecurity. So at present, I'm speaking to quite a few people within cybersecurity about mental health awareness as well, and that's something I'm going to go on to later on. So I've got a lot of friends in cybersecurity all over the UK, and from what I've heard in cybersecurity, what I've read as well, is there are so many mental health issues that need to be concerned, and a lot of the time it hasn't been talked about as much. But most cybersecurity professionals I know there are sort of like the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, 66 in a leap year sort of pressure. So there's pressure on cybersecurity professionals to make sure that they're keeping the system secure and doing everything they can to make sure that the systems they work for are secure. A lot of the time they're sort of looking at different systems as well to making sure they're secure as well, and a lot of the systems can be incompatible. So cybersecurity professionals have to work out ways so different are secure. Many cybersecurity professionals as well takes personal responsibility for the work. So if there's, say, a data breach or any cybersecurity issues that arise within organisations, they take personal responsibility and they shoulder a lot of the burden, if not all of it, on themselves as well. And I'll take it personally as well, which I can understand, because they take pride in the work they're doing, keeping our system secure. A lot of the time there's a lack of budget and technology as well, which will help them to effectively do the roles to the best of their ability. And this is not to say cybersecurity people aren't doing a good job. Far from it. They're doing a fantastic job, and I've got a lot of respect for everybody who wants to work in cybersecurity. However, a lot of budget or tech can make doing the jobs really, really difficult. A lot of cybersecurity professionals can work ridiculously long hours as well, sometimes at least over 60 hours a week, which can take a toll on the mental health. A lot of cybersecurity professionals do feel burnout as well, because they're feeling that they're needing to look after the systems a lot of the time and to make sure the systems are secure. And 65% according to Forbes magazine have considered leaving the industry, which is disconcerting to hear about as well, because we need cybersecurity professionals as much as we need software developers, software testers, and people to work in different areas of the tech industry as well to help keep systems safe and secure. Wellbeing and access to mental health services is essential if we want to keep our cybersecurity workforce, but also improve their well-being as well, and mental health as well. So I'm going to speak more about that later on. So mental health in the tech industry in general. So I'm going to talk generally about mental health in the tech industry. So 2 out of 5 professionals have experienced being near to burnout as well. So working the long hours, having to meet deadlines as well, can take its toll. Take its toll on professionals within the tech industry, and this is something which we as a society need to address in order to keep people within the tech industry, in order to help make things better for all of us. Since the pandemic, 55% of tech professionals have mentioned they've seen increased workloads in the work that they're doing. Some of the professionals have said that's actually helped them and it's been good for them, but a lot of the time it can have an impact on the mental health, where they're feeling exhausted and burned out and stressed, and not being able to cope with all the pressures of that can arise whilst working in tech. 24% of managers are trained in mental health awareness as well, which it's not the worst statistic, but again, that could be better. And I think it would help if more managers would train to to help and encouraged to help employees manage their mental health as well. This also comes from a company culture as well, where we want to change, where it should be changed from not from accepting that, although it's understandable that there are pressures and there are sort of challenges within working in tech and surviving in a business, but at the same time as well, making sure that the culture of an organisation is one which encourages people to talk about mental health and taking proactive steps to help employees and the business manage mental health of employees. 52% have been diagnosed with anxiety or depression, or even both, which makes it difficult for professionals to carry out part of the work effectively. 75% of colleagues working in the tech industry have expressed mental health concerns as well, which is still quite frightening, really, and something which we need to address. 80% of colleagues interviewed, though, have mentioned that their companies have been supportive with mental health as well. However, I do feel that some companies need to help proactively address that issue, so that colleagues feel well supported, and not just having a employee assistance program helpline that they ring, but also taking steps as well to check in on the well-being of the staff. So mental health in tech certainly needs to be addressed as well, and it's a continuous development, a continual process which we need to do to help each of us manage mental health better within tech. So I'm going to talk about some of my experiences within mental health and whilst I've tested as well. So I myself have some sort of anxiety, and have had anxiety issues whilst working as a tester in the tech industry, within the tech industry itself. So when I've tried to sort of to carry out some tasks to do with testing, and I've just not had the time to do it, or if I've been told that, which I had been by a previous organisation, but where it was not up to a satisfactory standard, that caused me some anxiety, and it just sort of made me question about how I was doing things as a tester as well, and as well having to deal with, and another thing is having to deal with pressures as well, of making sure that I test everything and I complete the work to a satisfactory standard within a very short time frame. So I gave the example of having to do a whole regression test, a whole software system within 4 days, and given very short notice. Myself and a few colleagues, fortunately, we actually did complete the regression testing on time, and it was completed. However, at the same time as well, it was difficult. It was quite tiring as well to actually it was quite tiring to actually get it all completed, and I just felt, for the next few days, I just felt exhausted, just because we'd sort of been under pressure to complete everything before release, and making sure that it was all working properly as well. Also as well, I've experienced redundancy, and I've been at risk of redundancy in a couple of places as well, which put pressure in and caused me some stress and anxiety, wondering if I was going to find another job and how I'd be able to support myself if I was to lose my job, and it just caused a lot of stress and days where I just couldn't concentrate at all, which made it difficult for me to do my job. I've also had experience of mental health issues when I was onboarding them on a place where I wanted people to sort of be fully onboarded by a week with a very limited training plan and not enough time to sort of absorb information, to learn everything pretty much very quickly at a very, very ridiculously fast-paced as well, where I need time to sort of take on board what I'm learning and to absorb my knowledge of what I'm learning as well, so that I can ask questions and understand as well, especially when we're being told, here you go, here's something for you to learn, take a few days, here it is. I want you to make sure that you learn everything about, you're up to speed within a week, which is difficult, especially if you've just joined an organization and you're trying to find your feet and trying to understand how everything works. So that was a difficult time. A lot of the time I feel like I'm a complete fraud in the testing industry, because there's so many really, really good testers out there within software testing, and even with the networking events that I go to as well, I just feel like a complete fraud, and that my experiences aren't as great as what some of the other testers are. So I do feel a lot of the time, even if I don't know much about something, I feel like I'm a complete fraud, and that I shouldn't be where I am. So that's caused me some concerns. Also, as well, lockdown was a difficult time as well. So when COVID hit in March 2020, initially I embraced the idea of working from home, because that meant that I didn't have to travel to work. As soon as I finished work, I could just shut the laptop down and just make cook tea, watch DVDs, go on webinars and stuff, which was fun. But when January 2021 hit and I hadn't seen many family and friends for such a long time, I started to feel quite low. I also was working weekends to try and get software tested for different releases as well, to make, and although I racked up a huge amount of hours and got so much overtime, a good amount of overtime pay for working hours as well, it ultimately took its toll on my mental health, because I just felt that I wasn't seeing many people. I was feeling quite low, and I just sort of was quite quiet a lot of the time as well, and just despondent. So I just wanted to make sure that I just needed to make sure that I was managing mental health whilst still in lockdown. Managing mental health in tech. So some organizations are good at managing mental health in tech, and one thing which we'll do is looking at sort of timescales to complete projects and managing workloads as well. And some good managers who have worked with both past and present have had ways of which we can manage the timescales and the workloads to give us time to be realistic about what workloads that we can possibly do as well, focusing on projects which are highest priority projects as well, which will benefit the business, but also making sure that workload are realistic based on, depending on the people who are actually undertaking the work. So colleagues with little experience of testing something can vary from a colleague who's got a lot of experience and knowledge of a system as well. So times can vary, so that needs to be factored into account. Also, as well, I've worked with managers before where we checked in with them once a week, once a fortnight to discuss how things are and any issues which we're encountering as well, so they can help address these issues as well, which has been beneficial with helping mental health. So at least I can be honest about how I feel, but also open to how we can make things better as well, and how I can manage my mental health. People like myself can manage mental health better in tech as well. Also, as well, a lot of professionals like myself as well have sort of work-life boundaries as well. So I work hard at what I can at work too as well when I'm working, but also I'll make sure that I do have boundaries as well, so that I don't work flat out, and that I take some time so that I can recharge after a day, so I'm ready for the next day. So I'm going to mention some ways now on how we can improve mental health in tech as professionals. So for myself, and I'm not going to, and this is not sort of like a one size fits all. I'm going to prescribe this way to you all, because everybody's got different ways of managing mental health whilst working. So I'll take things a day at a time. So where possible, I'll write down tasks I'll need to complete for the next day in a diary, so that at least I've got that to refer to and that I can focus on as well. So I'll take each day at a time. Every day can be different, and sometimes things can happen which can change courses of projects, or you have to reassign yourself to different projects, or reschedule your time as well. So I'll take it a day at a time. Let tomorrow worry about itself. I've also set myself some boundaries as well, where, for example, I'll still work as hard as I can, but after finish work, I'll make sure that when I switch off a laptop, and when I stop finishing work, I'll make sure I have boundaries, so that I don't check work emails most evenings. And I'll also set boundaries as well, so I do not check emails or any sort of mobile apps after 8 p.m. as well, so that at least it gives my mind to a break, and so that I can focus on other things as well, so that I can recharge myself and be ready for the next day. Making sure that you eat a decent meal as well, and making sure that you get some exercise as well, is also really good for mental health as well. So sometimes it can be tempting to have something quick and simple, like a microwavable meal, or get something from a fast food place like McDonald's. And I'm not going to tell anybody that they shouldn't eat at McDonald's. I'm not going to tell anybody what to eat as well, because that's not why I'm here. But making sure that you eat, you have a reasonable diet, a balanced diet as well. Food, fruit, veg, nuts. Making sure that you're getting decent food as well, which helps as well your mental health. Also, as well, exercise is really, really important. So when I'm working from home, most days I'll go for a walk at lunchtime as well, just to make sure that I've cleared my head, and that I can just switch off from using a laptop or being near a computer screen. I also enjoy practicing martial arts as well, which gives me a focus outside of work, so that I can continue to develop myself. And it is also good for addressing mental health issues as well, because it gives me something to focus on. It keeps me fit, but it also gives me a challenge outside of work on what to on how I can develop. Also, as well, setting yourself into a routine as well helps. For example, so I usually start the day at a certain time. I usually finish the day usually within a certain time as well, but I'll make sure I have a routine as well, so that I can actually have some sort of structure into my life. I also like being creative as well. So anybody who knows me knows that I like being creative. I like doing some. I like baking. I like being creative with the solutions which I have for testing software. I like being creative with a lot of the art content which I put in the tester as well, to keep it relevant and to keep it realistic as well. So being creative, it's fun as well, but also it has a focus as well, even if it's just drawing, writing, which I do as well. I do as well. I write articles of a tester, but I also like writing little sort of like little notes and stuff like that as well, just to sort of keep me focused. Also as well, well-being is important as well. So that could be anything from practicing mindfulness, sort of shutting your eyes and just breathing out, focusing on your breath. And it's good to sort of find ways which work for yourself, because each person, this will be different. Also as well, like I've mentioned earlier as well, I make sure that I plan the work as well, so at least it gives me a focus for the day as well, and that I can sort of set a priority for the work I'm doing as well, and it helps me to be more organised as well. Also as well, making sure that be honest with yourself, making sure that you're honest with your feelings, and making sure that you don't keep it all bottled up, or just sort of keep it quiet about it. It's important to talk about mental health. It's important to be honest and to speak to somebody, a friend, a trusted colleague, or even your GP as well, if you're struggling or finding things difficult. Even if people can't give you an answer, or sort of give you advice, at least somebody listening, or somebody listening to understand as well, helps as well, so that at least you don't feel alone as well. But also keep a diary of how you're feeling as well, and what mood, how you feeling. I mean, I've done that whilst working in the previous role as well, when I was having problems with mental health problems. I wrote down a diary about how I felt, and it helped put down my thoughts on paper as well, so that I didn't sort of keep it stored up inside. I mean, at least I had it down on paper, so, and at least it helped me to cope with things. Some organisations are doing some great stuff to do with mental health as well, and taking great action. So in a lot of organisations, we have the mental health first aiders and champions who are trained to spot the signs of mental health within organisations, and identify if colleagues are finding things difficult, or just don't seem struggling at the moment, if it's to do with workloads, or if they're finding things difficult, or if they're stressed as well. So mental health first aiders and champions, that is a good start to encourage colleagues to talk about mental health, and to also make sure that colleagues can also get the help they need as well, where possible. Some organisations are also doing sort of mental health related events. For example, in some organisations I've worked before, we've had events where where we did an afternoon tea session, talking about different areas of mental health, and how employees can manage their mental health, which was good, and that was one of the ways in which I could raise awareness with mental health. Usually that was a time for talk day back in 2016 as well with one of the organisations that I work for. Other organisations I've seen as well that had sort of walking to raise awareness of mental health as well, and to sort of get people involved in different activities, whether it's cycling, whether it's walking as well, and tracking your progress each day to keep people connected and to keep a community of people together. Also as well, a lot of the organisations are having mental health training for employees as well, and managers are checking in with other people as well to ask how they're doing. And this is something which we can all do as well. So I'll check in with colleagues who I work with to check that they're okay, and even if it's just for 5 minutes, at least it help. At least by doing that, you can actually help somebody as well. One year I actually did one place I worked with actually did a training course for new starters on how they can manage their mental health within the organisation as well, and that had some positive feedback from people who had struggled with mental health, or people who had anxiety as well, and had some positive feedback for that. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why mental health is important to myself, and what I've done so far, and what I'm also planning to do as well. So in 2009, I actually lost a brother to suicide. That was probably one of the most difficult times, if not the most difficult time in my life, where it was just sudden, it wasn't expected. My brother was somebody who was confident he could convince somebody that a cat was a dog, or that blue was red. He could sell sound to the city of Bournemouth. And from that, although he was going through coping with his death and coping with the loss that I'd never see him again, I wanted to do something to help other people and make sure that nobody went through what we went through as a family. I initially went to a Samaritans meeting for volunteers to work on the call centres back in 2012. And it was really interesting, and I've got a lot of respect for the Samaritans and the work that they do as well. However, I just felt at the time I still wasn't comfortable with talking to working in a call shift system as well, and I was still trying to deal with my losing my brother as well. So it's taken a long time, and I'll admit there's a lot more I'd like to do, and I don't think I'm there with where I want to be with managing mental health. However, I am making progress. I started delivering talks on mental health back in 2020 and starting to raise awareness a few years beforehand. I started doing talks on mental health to different groups as well, networking events both within the BCS and without the BCS, and I'm planning on doing some more talks to raise awareness about mental health as well in different areas. So I'm planning on doing some talks to do with cybersecurity and mental health, because I've got a lot of friends in that area. So I'm going to speak to some really good groups like the Ladies in Cheltenham Hacking Society. I've bribed them with cake, so I'm looking to do a talk with them. I'm also going to speak to some other groups as well, like the Cyber Women CIC group as well, who have who are a great group group of professionals as well, encouraging women who are developing careers in cybersecurity as well. So that's in the pipelines. I'm also planning on doing more talks about cybersecurity as well, but also looking within the BCS to actually implement mental health awareness and have a framework of how we can actually help people within the tech industry develop mental health as well, with organisations like the BCS to help guide them as well. I also want to create some more events as well, and I'm working with different groups as well to do some more webinars, create some more events around mental health awareness, and I also want to get involved in doing an event in memory of my brother as well. So it's still in the pipelines, and I haven't finalised the details of it yet. However, I'm happy to discuss with anybody after this talk as well about that. I've also been speaking to different organisations, and I've also looking at speaking to students within universities on how they can manage mental health as well, following a talk I did in February. So I'm going to organise some sessions where plan on inviting some speakers in to talk to students at different universities to actually help students manage mental health, because students at university can face a lot of pressure as well from doing well with their degrees or courses which they're doing as well. And I want to make sure that while they're at university, they've got the support that they need, they've got the help that they need as well, and they feel that their well-being is considered and they can manage things so that it results in fewer students dropping out, fewer students contemplating preventing students from finding things difficult. And even if I can prevent at least one person, save at least one person, it'll be worth it. So I'm going to talk to you about another professional as well, Alice Hendy, who founded the charity Ripple and has downloaded a groundbreaking, outstanding tool called Ripple, if anybody's heard about it. So Alice is a cybersecurity professional, and she also lost her brother Josh to suicide. And it came as a shock to her family, like it did to myself as well, like it did to mine as well. There's a YouTube video which I'm going to share with you all in a minute. So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm just going to show you the video, okay? So I'm just going to share the video with you all now. So it's just going to come up. Let's see. I'm just going to share the screen. So can everyone see the screen? Can everyone see the video?
No.
Not yet. Yep, there it is.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So I'm just going to share a video of Alice Hendy and how she set up the Ripple charity, but also implemented the Ripple tool as well, which families in school can download for free. So I'm just going to share a video now.
Best feedback I could have possibly ever received is 24 individuals coming to us directly to tell us that they are still here because Ripple intervened at their most vulnerable point. It was 5:28 in the morning that we got a knock on the door from the police. They sat my parents down and they said very bluntly they'd found somebody and that they believe it to be Josh, and they believe him to have taken his own life. He was 21 years old. My parents kind of sat there in a bit of a daze, really, not knowing what they just heard. They came into my bedroom, white, and they just said to me, it's Josh, he's taken his own life. And I can't really describe how I felt at that point. It was almost like somebody had let a bomb off from that moment, probably for about 2 months afterwards. It's just a complete blur. You've got sadness, you've got despair, but you've also got guilt. You know, what more could I have done? When I went through Josh's phone and his laptop, what I saw horrified me. Not only was Josh looking at ways and means to go about ending his life, but he was also provided with tips, encouragement. Nothing was there to push him down a different path. The opportunity I saw is to intervene at that person's most vulnerable point and to say to them, think about what you're doing. There is hope, people love you. And by the way, look at all of these amazing 24-hour free mental health resources. I am absolutely desperate to stop suicide impacting you, your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's my life mission now to stop this happening to any other families. Ripple itself is a browser extension. It's a plugin. Once downloaded, it means that if somebody was to conduct an online search relating to the topic of self-harm or suicide, then Ripple would intercept that search and instead provide that person with a message of hope that things would get better and signpost them to a selection of mental health resources that they can access both now and in the longer term. We don't collect or monitor or track any personally identifiable information whatsoever. Not everybody likes talking over the phone. So to have other options like text, web chat, apps you can download increases the probability of people actually securing and gaining mental health support. But not only that, Ripple is also available to be deployed through Wi-Fi integration.
Bournemouth University is installing the extension across their network. It was broadly welcomed.
I think it's a really good idea. This wonderful tool, lots of parents I'm sure will be instantly downloading Ripple. Please, please don't wait for suicide to happen before you suddenly decide to do something. This is for people who are at the level and the stage where they're ready to take their own life. It's your duty to protect them. This tool can save their life. We're able to give you demonstrations of the tool, show you how it works, provide you with all of the assurances that you need from a data protection, cybersecurity perspective. So please, please get in touch with us, download this tool, and let's continue to try and stop people from choosing suicide as their option.
So that was a video by Alice Hendy, the founder of.
I'm scouting new talent. I'm looking for
Hang on a minute.
a girl that is 12. Someone.
Sorry about that. So YouTube technology. Eh? So that was Alice Hendy, and why Ripple was it's such a vital tool. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to resume it now. So Alice also decided to create the Ripple online interceptive tool, which is a tool which has helped save lives. And I'm going to go into a little more detail in a minute. It's very different of life because if people are looking at taking their own life or self-harm, it will intercept them and provide them with reassuring messages and also ways to get help as well. So Ripple information. So for example, if someone is searching for harmful content online, for example, if it's self-harm or suicide or equivalent searches, the Ripple tool, which can also be used on networks, intercepts that search. It will give guided breathing exercises for people who are finding things difficult, and ways in which they can actually do the breathing exercises. It also provides reassuring messages that there's people who love you, there's people who care, you are special, and it has immediate access to different helplines like Samaritans, Shout, and other helplines as well, so that people can have mental health support, and which ultimately can save their lives as well. It's good for a lot of organisations have Ripple installed on their networks, on their systems as well. So it's good for safeguarding staff. It's good for safeguarding your clients and customers as well, so that they feel that they're protected and that they get the help they need when they're finding things really difficult. And they also have Ripple also do a lot of stuff to do with mental health, including mental health and well-being stuff. Plus, they've also did a Ripple Fest event, which I believe was last year as well, which raised awareness of mental health and raising great profile of Ripple and why we need Ripple within even if it for your organization, even for your family. So Ripple do a fantastic job, and I checked these slides with Alice before I did the talk on similar talk in February, and she had and she was happy for me to include this information as well. So I'm not directly involved with Ripple myself, but I'll do everything I can to help them as well. And I think one thing at least we can take away from all of this: please share Ripple with your networks. Please make sure that if you know of any schools or colleges, make sure that the teachers there, the staff there, are aware of this amazing tool. Your workplace, make sure they're aware as well, even if it's just spreading it to encourage colleagues to download it at home. If it helps to save one life, at least one life, it's worth it. Also, with downloading Ripple, it's very simple to download, and you've got a support team there to help you, whether you're downloading it for your family or for your organisation or for your school, college, university. There has been a really positive impact by Ripple tool as well. So in February, it was downloaded over 1.8 million times by families, by organisations. It has intercepted 22,180 genuine online searches. I believe that 30 people, their lives have been saved by Ripple when they found things really difficult. So 30 people so far, that makes such a difference, and it has an effect on the families as well, and the people around them. And it's won 29 awards in mental health and innovation space. I can't recommend this tool enough. I don't usually talk about what tools I would recommend, but this is one tool. This is one tool I would genuinely recommend, and I've also shared this with family, friends, and anybody who I feel would be useful as well. So there's different organisations which have installed Ripple on the systems as well, and Ripple can also be installed on networks. PricewaterhouseCoopers have installed it. West Ham United, where Alice and her brother Josh are huge fans of, they've installed it, and I think they've installed it on their systems. There's also a video of West Ham United using Ripple tool as well. KPMG have it installed. Save the Children, Manchester Airport, University of Portsmouth. I'm also going to share some other resources as well. So anybody who is interested in learning more about mental health or finding things tricky, there's also a lot of really good organisations which can help. So the Samaritans, they offer they're fantastic. and you can either call them on 116, 123, and they're here to listen for you for as little or as long as you need to. You can call them with any situation, any issue which you have as well. You could also email joe@samaritans.org or go onto the Samaritans website for more information. Mind have some really good stuff on mental health awareness, whether you've got a specific condition, whether or not in the workplace, at schools. Campaign Against Living Miserably, which the rapper Professor Green is the patron of. He lost his father to suicide, and he's been involved with Campaign Against Living Miserably, which is a great resource for people to learn more about mental health issues, how they can manage mental health, but any issues which they have, as well as any concerns as well. And there have been some shows on Dave as well, the TV channel Dave, where Campaign Against Living Miserably has worked alongside them as well to help increase mental health. I'm also going to talk about mental health and your legal rights as well within mental health. So this is something I have not included in my talk in February, when I did it back in February, but I thought that this is a little extra thing as well. So with your mental health as well, where you're working as well, if you're finding things difficult, you have a legal right to ask for adjustments in working with mental health and mental health as well, to make sure that things are more manageable for you and your needs are taken into account. So for example, if you need your hours adjusting, or if you need time to take your time off, depending on your organization, you have a right to request it and to make sure you get for the provisions to be taken place where possible to do so. It can involve planning ahead as well, but good organizations can plan it ahead, so that if you're finding things difficult and need time off to manage your mental health, or you can actually have you can have the help you need to do that as well, and they'll plan sort of meetings to make sure that you're settling in okay, make sure that the workloads are still okay for your needs as well. Review it regularly as well is also important as well, to see if your needs change and to see if any provisions need to be made or adjusted according to your needs as well. So some people, I know I've seen people years and years ago who've been signed off for stress and sort of stress related illnesses, and reviewing it regularly to sort of see how they're doing and making sure that they have adjustments made for them as well where possible. For example, if they need to take some time off work and then have a phased return to the workplace as well, they could also be taken into account as well. That could also involve sort of having flexible hours as well, to make sure that your needs are accommodated as well. Or if you're finding things difficult at specific times as well, and you need time to just adjust your workload and adjust your time as well, that could also be taken into account. Also as well, some employees like having quiet areas within an organisation if they're working from an office, just to make sure that they're sort of focused and that they can concentrate without too much disruption. Also, having an action plan is also good as well, which needs to be tailored for each individual as well, because everybody's needs are different. My needs will be different from, say, a lot of you, and vice versa as well. So having an action plan to make sure that your needs are accommodated is also important. So I've also got a list of articles as well, which I can also share activist talk as well. So there's a really good one about stressed out, burned out, and I feel like a fake from Sophia McCall. She was in the TV show The Hunted early on in April. She's one of the hunters, but she's also a very good cybersecurity professional. So she's got ways of how she's managed her mental health as well, and it's a really good article to read. So I can't recommend that to you enough. I've got some other articles as well about QAs finding things difficult, software testers finding things difficult within sort of software testing as well. And there's a really good one by Jonathan Wright as well. He's a very well-known tester and highly respected in the testing industry as well. And he's got a really good article as well about QA's rate on burnout among software testing professionals. If that's another one I recommend you read. I've also got a really good article which I found as well whilst researching mental health in tech, to do with the Inside Out film that came out by Disney back in 2015. The sequel is going to come out this year as well, I believe in June time as well. So, but from the first film, there's the 5 mental health truths from Inside Out, which was also a really good read. I've also participated in a survey and research for the experience of neurodiverse and disabled people in IT 2023, because I'm a neurodiverse professional myself, and that I've mentioned issues about mental health as well, alongside the professionals as well. There's some really good information from Ripple as well, which I shall also share out after this talk as well, which gives advice for Ripple for using it for educational institutions. If you or your friends or your colleagues have got families, there's a really good article about Ripple for parents and guardians as well. And you've also got some of the videos as well, including a TEDx talk which Alice Hendy, CEO of Ripple, did a while ago as well, which is really good watch. And you've got some information about Ripple suicide prevention as well, which I'm also happy to share as well. So I just wanted to say thanks everybody for coming along and supporting me in tonight's talk as well. And it's great to see you all there as well. I'm happy to ask any questions and discuss things more as well. And I'm also happy to sort of talk to you more about this all in detail, plus any plans which I have as well. So I want to say it's been great. It's been great to have a joint event between both ourselves at the South Yorkshire BCS branch and with you all at the BCS Business Change Group. And thanks so much for all your support as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions which you all have.
Thank you very much, Andy. That's
Thanks.
very powerful talk. There's so many good information, and some of them I knew about it, and some of them I have never heard about it before.
Okay.
It was very useful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, thanks. That was really insightful.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you sharing your kind of personal experiences as well. I know it can be difficult to put yourself in a vulnerable position. So I think I speak for all of us when I say that, to do that for the benefit of others, it says a lot about you as a person.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Andy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
Thank you so much. The information you presented was superb, and I'm very sorry to hear about what happened to your brother.
Thank you.
I've sent my email address to Sohair, who's going to kindly send it to you. Would you please email me, Andy? I am very active in this space. I have had a similar but different experience to you, and I think if we got together, we could up the power of this even more than what you're doing already, I would love to give you a bit of support and tell you why. So
Thank
I
you.
think the only other thing I would say, having been in this industry for a very long time,
Yeah.
this might be obvious, but to the people who are on here, most of us are probably trying to produce processes and software for businesses. And
Yeah.
in this wonderful capitalist world in which we all work, businesses are greedy for results, margin, profit, blah, 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 blah. And that means the likes of us, I've been a programmer, I'm a senior BA, deputy project manager, and a few other things. We are always going to be under a lot of pressure because businesses do not get how complicated and difficult the work we do is. That's not a criticism of them, it's an observation, and it explains why we guys get put under a lot of pressure. And all I will say is up to, a few years ago, I had some really bad times because I thought it was me. I thought I was not performing. I've turned that round. I'm completely the other way now, right? I manage expectations and I do talks, and I'm involved with mental health resilience and goodness knows what. So, yeah, very good, very, very good talk, Andy. I do hope we'll get to have a coffee one day soon, and thank you so much.
Thank you as well, and it'll be great to meet you in person one day soon.
I hope so.
So
thanks for that, David. Okay, so do we have any questions? More than welcome to post in chat, or you can raise your hand or unmute yourself and just ask away.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, is it Dave or David?
David.
David, yeah, David. I think your observation is spot on as well, because I can appreciate that businesses want results up very quickly, but at the same time as well, they don't always see the difficulty in what it is to develop something or test it, or even look at the other areas of the tech industry as well to sort of see how tricky it can be to actually implement something as well. So I totally agree with what you're saying, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're that different to other industries.
No.
When people who provide services to businesses get, but it is, I mediate in both directions in this space, so I'm not criticising either side. But I talk about, for example, the exponential iceberg. The business wants X, and that's the bit of the iceberg that's above the water, and under the water there is a huge, vast, infinite, exponential amount of work that they just don't see, and they struggle to understand why it takes us lot so long to do something, and they're ever breathing down your neck. I've got a lot of techniques for managing that in both directions and a lot of other stuff. So I've got to go and have my dinner now. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Talk, Andy.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks,
you.
David.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I was just looking through the chat for any questions. There was one earlier on from Patrick. He said, is there any comparison data from other industries about people in tech who have been diagnosed? So in terms of I think he's thinking in terms of percentages, people who have these sort of problems in tech compared to other industries.
I'm just trying to think. It's a good question, actually. I mean, I've not got anything to hand at the moment. However, I will have a look at that. And I've also done talks before as well, where I've talked about different industries, for example, like the engineering industry, which has a lot of issues around mental health as well. So it's something I'm happy to look into more detail as well. So if I find some more detail, I'll happily share with you all, share what I know with all of you as well. And if anyone's got any information which can help me as well in another way as well, I'm happy to learn more from all of you as well. So
Yeah, I could probably say that the sales environment could be just as bad, if not worse. High pressure sales. I've got quite a few friends in that industry, and that can be very difficult. But it's very much a human problem, isn't it? So it's gonna exist in every industry, right?
I mean, I think recruitment consultants as well, they're under pressure for getting people into roles, and that can be quite a stressful industry from what I've read about that before as well. So it can affect a lot of industries as well, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I think it's pretty much close to dinner time for most people now. So yeah, thank you, Andy. That's a wonderful session. Thanks for sharing it with us. Thanks to the audience as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you to Sahir and Ahmad for being kind, for being brilliant, and having and agreeing for a joint session as well. And I think in the future it'll be great to do another one with you all as well. So yeah, it'd be great to work with you all again. So we'll discuss some ideas with you in due course as well. But
thanks from the South Yorkshire branch as well. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well. So it's good to see you all online, and we at the South Yorkshire branch will have some more events in the new academic year as well. So more details will follow soon.
Wonderful.
Thank you.